So, welcome to the SAP Autonomous Enterprise podcast, where we unlock the future of enterprises. Join us as we explore cutting-edge technologies, strategies, and success stories driving towards autonomy, with exciting guests from in and outside of SAP to listen how the gap between ambition and execution can be closed. So, we are more than happy today to welcome you, Sindhu, MD of SAP Labs India. So, Sindhu, nice to have you with us today.
No, it's great to be here, Julia, talking to you about the autonomous enterprise and what it means for our customers. Yeah. And a very warm welcome to you to India, and particularly here to our beautiful campus in Bangalore.
So, today's episode is about how Indian enterprises are adopting business AI and autonomous enterprise capabilities. So, how you and your team bring this to execution, this vision. And I think we are more than excited to hear also what this will happen in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
Sindhu. So from your perspective, how are customers in India reacting to SAP Autonomous Enterprise and Business AI announcements? What is your feeling? What is your perspective?
I think if I just reflect back, Julia, we just come off a phenomenal Sapphire in both in Orlando and as well in Madrid. And I think the announcements were phenomenal, right? I mean, we laid out our vision for the autonomous enterprise and how we believe as SAP that we help our customers get a lot more grounded when it comes to also getting their businesses to be a lot more adaptive, resilient, agile, and which is the whole focus of the autonomous enterprise, right? And if there is one company that can do it in that way, it's only SAP. Why? Because I think what customers truly appreciated was the fact that we are grounding our focus of the autonomous enterprise on reality, right? It is on 50 plus years of that expertise that we have when it comes to industry knowledge, that business process knowledge, and of course the technology depth and breadth of our portfolio. So it has resonated really well with our customers, particularly after also and not just talking about how we want to deliver it, but also showcase a lot of that in terms of the kind of AI assistants and the agents that we have been building using also the SAP Business AI platform across our core functions, be it finance, supply chain, procurement, HR, services, all of it. So the message was not just about, hey, that's the vision, but this is how we are doing it. And I think that has resonated beautifully, not just with the customers in India, but all over the globe. In fact, right after Sapphire, just 2 weeks back, Julia, we also had SAP Now in Mumbai, where we could actually showcase a lot of that, what we talked about at Sapphire in reality to our customers here in India. And I think the customers are all delighted. Now the conversation is, how can we get started if we have already not started, right? So that's the shift that has happened post Sapphire.
Amazing. Yeah, that totally sounds amazing. Thanks for the first question, Sindhu.
Thank you.
So now we had the perspective from India and the global perspective. Sindhu, now I would be interested in, do you see particular industries of types of companies, especially in India, that are moving faster than others when it comes to adopting business AI and autonomous enterprise capabilities?
Yeah, I think, Julia, if you just look at the India market, right? I mean, there's it's quite distinct in that way in terms of the pace at which innovation happens here in India. I'm sure in your recent visit to India, you also probably feel that kind of that drive and that energy, and everybody wants to be on top of the latest and greatest. And then if you just reflect on the backdrop at which we are operating India as a market, right? I mean, it's one of the fastest growing markets. And also the depth of digitization that we experience in India is at a totally different level, right? So in that sense, also, given that larger backdrop, some industries, of course, are at the forefront when it comes to benefiting and also leading from this vision of the autonomous enterprise. Think manufacturing. I mean, it's today in today's world when every industry is impacted big time with supply chain challenges, geopolitical changes, and a lot of the manufacturing that's happening, say in other countries, is also moving to India as we speak. So manufacturing is a big industry. Also automotive. Again, here, a lot of the large automotive companies setting up their manufacturing plants for be it cars and other automotives here in India. So the automotive manufacturing also becomes a very important segment here in the country, right? Besides that, I mean, we have a large consumer market, right? I mean, when you're talking about a nation of 1.48 billion people, then you're talking about this retail section, that consumer market also evolving at a pace that is unparalleled, right? And especially now with AI and with the autonomous enterprise, the ability to understand what are some of the trends that we see in consumer segments, to be able to quickly react to those trends, to change also the experiences that customers can have depending on various segments, and to be able to adapt to those experiences, what the consumer is demanding from you, are opportunities, what the autonomous enterprise gives you, right? Also financial services. Again, a big sector here in India, because, I mean, if you just look at areas like the unified payment interface with the digital public infrastructure, there's been a lot of work that's already done in terms of the core foundation. And now with SAP, when we plug into that kind of a core digital public interface, the length and breadth of what you can offer in terms of value-added financial services to the people and the organizations here in India becomes extremely attractive. Or take a totally different industry like life sciences or healthcare. Today, the kind of research that you can drive leveraging the power of AI in these industries becomes very unique and very helpful, especially when you're talking about patient services, healthcare services. So these are definitely industries where I see significant progress happening here in India. But if I zoom out a little bit, Julia, I think the most successful ones and where we are seeing the bigger drive is where the whole conversation about an autonomous enterprise is not just happening in pockets, it's becoming a boardroom conversation, right? And those companies where those conversations are getting elevated to the CEO level, the pace of innovation is also at a different pace. So definitely India offers various verticals where we see significant opportunity / penetration when it comes to the autonomous enterprise, and we see that also happening in the customers that we serve here in the region. No?
Yeah, very good. So we can see we have not a specific industry also for India. We have it through the whole line of industries.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the opportunity is immense. And like I said, in India, there is a significant foundation upon which you're building, and plus combined with that kind of, how would you say, that drive and that hunger for innovation. No?
Yes.
Yeah.
This we also really feel in the workshops the last days.
I'm sure.
Really amazing. Yeah. So, bringing our conversation to the next step, I would say, Sindhu, how does your team at SAP Labs India work with customers to turn the autonomous enterprise vision really into concrete projects and also roadmaps for the customers? What is here?
Great question, Julia. And I think what is definitely a shift that I've been seeing, particularly in the last couple of years here in India, is the customers who walk into this lab, right? I mean, they're not customers necessarily only from India. You're talking global customers, right? Because and today, those global customers have their customers also sitting in India, but in the rest of the world as well. So that is where I see also this intersection point between benefiting from the power of a location like Labs India, where we have 40% of our global R&D here and the full portfolio of our product portfolio in one location. That combined with driving innovation and this solutioning for our customers, getting them started on their journey to the autonomous enterprise becomes so exciting that we have literally every day customers walking in and that we get into those deep conversations with them, right? And I just mentioned it's a journey. And honestly, if you look at customers and their adoption paths towards the autonomous enterprise, it's not that it happens overnight or just happens in a couple of months. It's a journey, right? I mean, it's a journey, and that is where we also handhold customers, and where we get them, we do design thinking workshops with them. We understand kind of what are those areas which really are their points where they struggle with today in their business. Where are they missing the visibility? Where do they need a lot more agility in their decision making? Where are those problem zones where they're saying, I'm not able to understand how does my forecasting look like? How do I look at my inventory levels? How can I improve my sourcing? How can I look at procurement better? But that's a bigger canvas. That's why I said it's a larger journey. But then we zoom into one problem area and we say, okay, let's work on that together, right? And this is where we bring in that process expertise, that technology expertise, that industry expertise. And when we have also the counterparts on the customer side, we go in together, we understand, okay, that's the problem statement. And then it's not just about, here's the problem statement, this is how we kind of put AI on top. That's the easy one. I mean, that everybody can do. But we're really reimagining what it could be. How can forecasting look completely different? Where are the core solutions from SAP that can already, to a great extent, serve their needs? And where is those extra mile that we need to go to really make that very unique to that customer's needs, right? So it's really bringing the best of our core portfolio, which is built in a location like here or in other labs across the world, bringing that strength and then combining it with this innovation edge and making sure customers can see those outcomes very quickly. And that's also the pace at which we work. Right? Delivering those very early workable solutions for our customers, then also go back and say, is that working? They get a quick buy-in from their users on their side. They give us feedback. We go into the next round of iteration. So that's the pace of how we work. And then once the customer says, okay, that's exactly what we want, we go build it. We also run and operate it for our customers. Because, and that is also what I see, Julia. Once the customers see these outcomes in certain areas, then they want to continue. And that's what I meant by it's a journey. And for them to be successful in that journey, this combination of our strong product portfolio that we build, combined with also bringing in those bespoke innovations, what they need, and doing that at a pace which the customer is also able to work with us, that I think is the secret sauce for success. And that's also what we bring both of our strengths together. No?
And I really also like how you framed it about the journey. Autonomous enterprise is not there overnight. It's really the journey. We want to take the customer with us together.
Absolutely.
And then at the end, showing what really is the outcome.
And I think when customers engage with us and when we engage, it's a win-win on both sides, right? Because it's not that we say we have all the answers. They are also bringing back that strong perspective which helps our product managers and our product leaders to also adapt, improvise, innovate jointly, co-innovate. And that, I think, is the beauty of this journey to the autonomous enterprise.
Absolutely, Sindhu. So, Sindhu, let's zoom a little bit more in. Are there any patterns in how leading Indian customers are organizing themselves for business AI, for example, regarding governance models, skills, roles, that you see are particularly effective?
I don't know if it's a phenomenon that we're particularly seeing only in India, Julia, but I mean, if I just put on my global lens, right, and with the global customers that we serve, right, I'm definitely seeing a shift where the successful ones, right, I mean, and I referred to that earlier on as well. This whole conversation when we talk about how, AI or how do that journey into the autonomous enterprise. Today is no more a conversation that you're having just with the CIO or the tech teams in organization. The more successful ones are where this conversation is elevated directly to the CEO, right? Where the CEO is leading the conversation. I mean, you can see that in our own at SAP. I mean, it's Christian driving the autonomous enterprise vision for us at SAP. And that is also a reflection I see in some of the most successful AI thinking companies, right? Where the CEO is driving a lot of those conversations, right? That is definitely a universal trend, I would say. Because some of those decisions have to happen at the CEO level and then it gets into the individual LOBs, right? The second thing, what I'm definitely seeing is also these conversations are, and where they are successful, are definitely where you're not just having, say, the business owner and the corresponding technology expertise coming together. But today, when you're talking about AI permeating across the length and breadth of the organization, then of course there is also a lot of focus on trust, on governance, on compliance, on the responsible way in which you use AI, which means there is also across the boardroom experts from legal, from risk, from compliance, from HR, and it becomes everybody's topic. It's not kind of, okay, here I'm the supply chain officer and I just go and do it. That's also the change that we are seeing in successful organizations who are a lot more focused on thinking about governance across the organizations. How do you take those decisions? There are steering committee meetings where those decision points have all of these stakeholders coming together, because it's also about responsibility on that trust and governance, which becomes very important. You mentioned skilling, which is again a big topic, right? Yeah. And the most successful ones are not just talking about, hey, let's go out there and get the best of AI talent. No, what is happening in organizations is, how do I upskill my organization? Because today, if you're talking about everybody in the organization thinking AI first, that's the only way. It won't happen if you just go out there and get the best AI talent and say, now you have to make me AI enabled, right? Or get us on the path of the autonomous enterprise. No, you have to take the organization along. And where I'm seeing also a lot of that focus in some of the fast moving organization when it comes to AI superiority, is definitely where this is becoming also a board priority, or about continuous upskilling, reskilling, because you have the domain expertise. Now you're seeing how AI can help complement that domain expertise, right? And so I'd say the fastest ones are not necessarily with the biggest AI teams or something like that. That's not really the case. But the fastest ones are where really everybody's coming together. It's a board priority. There is a focus on also responsible usage of AI. You have all the business functions also part of that decision making, and where talent and that focus on talent becomes also a very important conversation, because it's really about making sure that they have the right skills and they're equipped with the right ways, like the AI Code Camp, what's happening here on our campus this week, right? I mean, it's really about making sure everybody has access. Of course, we have controls in place, guardrails in place, but developers want to get their hands on the latest and greatest, but you do it in the right way. Combine that with the business process expertise, the tech expertise, and that level of upskilling and reskilling is a continuous, right? It's not a one time and then you stop. And that is also the cultural change that we are seeing definitely in some of the most successful organizations. Yeah.
So at the end, so what we can take from this, really taking everyone on board, but the leaders also have to go first.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Sindhu, one more question regarding India and also regarding SAP strategy. So given the size and the diversity of the Indian market, how do you balance global strategy on the one hand and the Indian market with the local requirements on the other hand?
Yeah, I think, Julia, we are a global lab here, right? I mean, when I said earlier, right, that when we are talking about 40% of our global R&D is located here. I meant that with that exactly to your point, right? We are not building solutions here only for our local market, right? And at the same time, I should also say that the customers in India are also not just taking a global solution and just saying, okay, let's apply that. Actually, it's a combination of both, right? I mean, when I talked about co-innovation, it's happening on multiple fronts, right? Because today, the customers that we serve from here, right? I mean, even if you take an Indian customer, since your question was more about how do we support an Indian customer, many of these customers are serving their customers in global markets, right? And so that is today that's the world we are in, right? So, and that is the beauty of SAP, where we really make sure that when we build solutions, no matter in which part of the world, we're thinking from that global lens, right? And we make sure that through the understanding, and that to my earlier point on that deep process knowledge, the industry expertise, the fact that we serve 190 countries globally as SAP, there's a lot of that learning built into our core solutions, right? And so that is the case also here in India. We work with our customers, we co-innovate with our customers, we co-create with our customers. Many times we try out solutions with our customers here locally, because we know that if it works at the scale of India size, it will work in, right? Because like if you're stress testing or performance testing a solution, we work with one of the biggest retailers here in India, and when we say if it works for them, it should work anywhere else in the world, right? Because they're serving also their global customers. So that's a little bit of how we ensure. Of course, there are very specific regulations, to your point. There also we are deeply plugged and working hand in hand also with the industry bodies here in the region, to also not just take regulations as they come, but to also help shape those regulations, right? And to really be at a forefront at the table to also help explain and guide how those regulations will then flow into products like ours, which impact supply chains of the largest organizations here in the country, or how do we run railways in the country, or any of all of the oil and gas companies in India run on SAP, right? So it's very important that we are also shaping those regulations and not just taking those regulations and bringing it back into our core products, which we will do since we serve these customers. But it's really also about helping shape those and then making sure we comply with those regulations. So it's really a mixture of, and that is also the exciting part for our teams here in India, to making sure that when they build solutions, think from that global lens, right? And think about how customers in different parts of of the world also will be consuming these products and capabilities. And this is where also our product advisory council, where we bring some of our top customers across the region together, show them also early versions of what we are building, get that feedback very early on so that we go back, refine, come back to them. This is a part of our day-to-day, if you may will. So it's really about, I would say, making sure that no matter which part of the world the consumer of our products that we build is, that they feel equipped, and the same thing is for our customers here in the region as well.
I really like how you frame this question, and also that it's all about collaboration.
Yes.
Collaborating together. Customers and SAP.
Correct.
And helping also each other and shaping it together.
Shaping it together. And I think that has been our kind of a mantra which our founders have put into place, and which that culture that we take forward, right? I mean, to a great extent, yes, we are 110,000 of us across the world, but at the core of it, we are closely co-innovating, collaborating with our customer, no matter how big we are. And I think that's a very important entrepreneurial mindset that we have ingrained into our core values. No,
I like this. Thanks a lot, Sindhu. Okay, Sindhu, looking ahead, what do you expect to change in the next 2 to 3 years in India regarding customer expectations, and how is SAP preparing especially for this?
Yeah, I think what we are definitely going to see is the maturization of how AI is adopted, right? I mean, that is definitely in the next 2 to 3 years. I'd say we'll see a lot more of customers who are up in the forefront when it comes to their maturity levels of AI adoption, right? I mean, definitely what we will see is no more these vertical kind of focus on AI, but a lot more of a horizontal focus on AI. I think that's inevitable, because that's a trend that we're already seeing, and in 2 to 3 years that's definitely the case. And I think that is also our vision for the autonomous enterprise, right? Because if you're talking about also that having the enterprises which can predict and forecast and run a lot of that core on their own, and where humans are coming for those very decisive works, it has to be horizontal. So that is also definitely something that we will see, right, a lot more in terms of maturity levels. The other thing is also when we're talking about trust, right, and I mean, you will definitely see a lot more focus. I mean, it's not that today it's not there, but in terms of the maturity level, that will also be the enhanced level of that trust. How do we bring in responsibility? How do we bring in governance? A lot more of focus on that, because when we're talking about autonomous enterprise, I mean, the fact that you take certain business critical decisions definitely needs to be on that foundation of trust, on that foundation of responsibility, on that foundation of compliance. So there will be definitely a lot more focus on those aspects, because in the next 2 to 3 years, everybody will have access to all the large models out there, but that is not going to be the decisive factors. But how do you use those models in a governed manner, like we from SAP, how we are supporting our customers? That maturity will also increase, right? And here in India, particularly, Julia, I can definitely say customers are going there from a position of strength. We are seeing phenomenal examples of customers already today, and phenomenal leadership as well. And the best part, of massive ecosystem around, right, of customers, partners, startups, all working together. So I can absolutely see that the pace of enterprise AI adoption is definitely going to be an all-time high here in India. And I think we from SAP, we're absolutely well positioned to serve our customers as part of this journey.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sindhu. I really liked how you framed this and also how you put this in a nutshell together, why we at SAP can deliver this so good. So,
thank you.
Sindhu, thanks a lot for joining our podcast.
Thank you. Thanks. It's been such a joy talking to you today, Julia.
It was really nice, and I think very, very good inputs for our podcast listeners. So they are happy to hear your episode.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.